Peace, love, life, and balance. What's going on, family? We right here. Check this out. You see the title of the video, getting right to it. Andrew Tate, is he an agent of the Matrix, control opposition? Or is he actually a leader of the Matrix? Someone to lead you out of the Matrix? We're gonna deal mainly with the first question today. Now, we're gonna point out some things. Now, I'm gonna start off by saying this. I'm not going to give any opinions on Andrew Tate, personal opinions. He's a good entertainer. He's made a lot of content. He's obviously got some business sense to himself, was successful. He's obviously accomplished a lot of great things, great story, but there's also some things that he's done that have not been so great. So the sword cuts on both sides. So let's get right into it. I just want to point out certain things. I know a lot of y'all fanboys out there, I don't, if you get your feelings hurt, I don't really care, man. This ain't about you. This is the balance channel. We deal with truth. I'm not taking a side. I'm just going to point out certain things. I may say how I personally feel here and there. I may not. When I do, I will point that out. So let's check this out here. All right. So this is Andrew Tate. Now, before I start this video here, okay, I want to point out a couple things. All right. Y'all see he's here. Now, this is where his ride started, fresh and fit.
Solo interview, Andrew Tate. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fresh Fit Podcast. We're here with the legendary Andrew Tate, a.k.a. Cobra Tate, man.
Legendary now.
This guy Myron right here, Myron Gaines, which is a fake name. Then you got Fresh Prince CEO, the guy, basically use a lot of tactics as far as getting in the game. Now, I'm gonna give Fresh and Fit props on the marketing, like I did with Pearly. As far as marketing, I know I run a marketing company myself, so I'm gonna give props where props is due. They're very successful at marketing. They know what they do, and they built a strategy that works. Had they stepped on some toes and did some things crooked along the way, hey, that's still up. That's up for you to decide. Some people say they have, some people say they haven't, but they are what they are. They are successful. They are very successful. Now, do they say things I agree with? No. Do I think that they should be guys giving dating advice about women in game? Hell no. These are two of the lamest guys on the internet. These are two of the fakest guys on the internet. That's just facts. By their own admission, they got fake. They built up fake personas. But to get them props, when they got caught, they owned up to it and they leaned into it. They didn't run from it. Now, this guy Myron right here, he's actually the feds. He linked into it so hard that he made a channel called Fed, the Fed, whatever, Fed hit, whatever. What do I think of that? You know how I think of that. Y'all know my dealings with the feds as a Panther. Fuck them. I really don't, care too much for them. Fresh, he came over. He came over into this game. Basically, he was the money guy that financed the situation with Fresh and Fit. Built these, put himself out there as a record executive and all of these things of that nature. Did the whole fake persona thing, buying the press releases, that whole nine, which is common, to be honest amongst a lot of people trying to get into the game. But let's listen a little bit as they introducing Andrew Tate.
I will say this: ever since you were here a couple months back, by far the most requested guests were you and AMS. Yeah. By far, you didn't bring Andrew back. That was awesome. But
actually, they do polls on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah. Who's the best guest on Fresh and Fit? Guess what they said? Andrew Tate.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, I'm just out here surviving, trying to stay on the right side of the dirt, my friend.
Yeah. So he really blew up, man. He really blew up when they started. I noticed when Fresh and Fit got outed by Albert and Preach and all that whole battle and everything, they leaned into it. They got into it with Kevin Samuels, I think, even for a little bit. And they got even bigger. They leaned into it. That was a good marketing strategy by them. They didn't try to run. They tried to run it first, but they eventually said, whatever. This is who we are. This is what it is. Because they really had nowhere to go, man. To be honest with you, they was caught up. But people don't really watch them for them. They watch them for who they bring on the show. And Andrew Tate was, at the time, he was already blowing up. He was already probably bigger than them. But when he went on here, when you collab with these guys, it makes him made him even much bigger. And it brought him more into the I would say the commercial trashy type red spill pace. the Jerry Springer type, the shock jock space. It really gave him a boost in that area. And by doing that, notice this. He's working with a master marketer. Fresh, y'all might think Fresh is some slow dude, whatever. Fresh is smart, man. Fresh is very smart. Fresh knows what he's doing. He's a master marketer, bro. He's not an idiot. Fresh is a master marketer. He's the brains behind this operation. Don't get it twisted. But Myron, he's a trained Fed. He's the Feds. So first and foremost, that he's heavily supported by the Feds. Now, a lot of people will say, well, he came out and said that he's no longer with the Feds. BS, man. BS. you don't become the Feds and just say, oh, I'm gonna lead the Feds. I'm just gonna, put this behind me. No, once you the Feds, you always the Feds. All right. It's just like if y'all listen, y'all talk about Crips and Bloods, gang banging and gangster disciples and whatnot. But the thing is, the biggest gangs are the law enforcement, and he's the Feds, man. There's no way around it, man. He's still the Feds. You think that this rise is by accident? Now I got a documentary I'm doing called Operation Red Pill, and as I drop videos like this, I just want to see how people want to challenge these things, because I will be able to dissect this empirically. Let's go on.
Yeah,
if I'm spitting knowledge, it's nothing but life experience. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. But I'm glad I can help people. I'm glad people resonate with the words I say. So I love to be here. I love to be on the Fresh.
And big ups, man. You made the Spotify biggest podcast off the record academics. That's huge, bro. That's huge.
Now, to be real, man, do these guys say some good things? That's true. Yeah, of course. You can't blow up without having some truth in there. So with Andrew Tate. So let's go on to another video. All right. Basically, this is, like I said, this is I think a year ago, about basically when he really took off, was last year. Now notice this. When he really took off, right? What was the timing of his takeoff? Who had died? Who had died, ladies and gentlemen? Who died? That's right. Kevin Samuels. Okay. So this guy makes some good points here. Let's just listen to what he got to say. This guy here.
Andrew Tate. Is he controlled opposition? Is he controlled at all? One thing's for certain, his Twitter account is still actively tweeting when the powers that be have cancelled him from much.
Yeah. Now check this out. He supposedly was canceled, but he was still sending tweets out. Now, a lot of times, if y'all study real controlled oppositions throughout history, what they do is, it includes, even with the Feds, you look at some of the COINTEL situations. Me being a Panther, I can talk about it extensively, and I will do that on another stream. But they stage arrests, they stage fake arrests. They do that all the time. They shootings, everything. They go that deep that they want to create a figurehead. So if he was truly canceled, he was right back on Twitter. And he was right back on there. Now I know they say, well, Elon Musk restored it, but that's the point. That's the point. Let's go. Like I said, I don't want them to seem like I'm trying to attack Andrew Tate or whatever. I'm just pointing out certain things. Now, do I like a lot of this? Is a thing I like about him? It's some things I like about what he do. It's some things that I don't rock with. I think that he's a square. He's a square that tried to impersonate certain things. Impersonate the pimping, impersonate this game. He got a lot of knowledge, he got some game, but he really don't have the true game. And that's what's being shown in this situation when he got pants in this situation with the girls and all of that. He really didn't handle it like somebody who got some game from those who really has some game. And y'all got to stop confusing money and success with that, because this guy is the Feds, man. This guy's a trained Fed. There's no that now allegedly. He's a trained. He's the Feds. Let's keep going.
Much less than human trafficking. And to touch on his last cancellation, does anyone else find it strange how he randomly converted to a religion that contradicts everything he created and continues to make his fortune off? And note, the majority of his recent tweets are religious scripture, which indicates who is handling and controlling Andrew Tate. Let me know your comments below.
Look,
current date.
look, shout out,
Andrew Tate is
shout out to the Muslim
current
religion.
dating system.
Shout out to the Muslim religion, right? But we got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it a buck. A lot of controlled opposition, whether rumor allegedly, came through the Muslim and Christianity. Usually what a lot of controlled opposition, a lot of federal operations do, they try to have a figurehead that creates a cult of following. Okay, so let's look at I want to go into this video here. I want to go into a video here. Let me just see where is it at here? Man, okay, let's go here. Boom, boom, boom. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I want to just make some
With
good.
anyone against the conspiracy. Primary.
Now, this is a video about controlled opposition. Now, before actually, I want to I'm gonna come back here. I want to go to video. I want to get shout out Sandman. Let me get, where is it at, man? Where is it at? I think this is it right here. Okay, he makes some good points here. All right.
Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Mr. Anonymous, and here's what he has to say. Hello Sandman, love your videos and I'm a longtime fan. Could you make one video about Andrew Tate? You mentioned him once before. I'm a believer in the...
Now, Sandman, right? This red pill movement, this MGTOW movement, notice how it got very commercialized after COVID. I picked up on around 2017, 2016, 17. I kind of started seeing videos and watching, but it wasn't really that. It was still underground. A lot of people's channels were still getting banned. Then later on, like 2018, I started watching Greg Adams, and I saw him growing his content, but it really wasn't blowing up like that. It was kind of still underground. Then when 2020 came and the Kevin Samuels clip went viral, and then, next thing you're fresh and fit. Now, I don't have it with me, but it's a video where they was asking who's the next to blow up with Kevin Samuels on a podcast. I think they called it the Six. And they was like, they had Lucario, Greg Adams on there, Donovan Sharp, and they was like, Myron Gaines, fresh and fit. And what happened? At that time, he was like, maybe not even half the subscribers. He probably had the least subscribers on that panel, but then he ended up blowing up. He ended up blowing up. They already knew. They already knew what was up. They already knew the game plan. The commercialization of what they would call the red pill really kicked off in 2020. This guy's an OG guy, Sandman right here. He's MGTOW. He still kind of stick to his guns. She never showed his face. He points out a lot of things. He's got awkward style, but man, he's actually, he makes good points. Let's listen to him.
Black pill, and I put his success up to his 6'4" height and athletic build and his high IQ. But is there more to him than that? Or is it all business? And
to be fair, yes, he is. Andrew Tate's a very intelligent guy, not a dummy, very well trained guy, but so are a lot of agents.
Classic online buy my course scam. Best to you. Well, Mr. Anonymous, thanks.
That course is garbage. Keep it 100. It's garbage. Now, I work with somebody who got a real legit course. You can actually earn wealth and actually work out using myself. You can actually level up in with Keenan Williams. You can look him up. He's got a legit course, way more successful and helpful to you versus Andrew Tate. Now, is there people that's going to succeed in that? By a law of averages, of course. He signed up like 4 million people. So, that by the law of averages, somebody going, even what they say, even the sunshine on the dog behind twice a day. So I've seen more cases, and this is before all this jumped off, people was complaining about his course or whatnot. Now, does he give good advice in this video sometimes? Yeah, of course. Like I said, he says some real things, man. But he's a square trying to impersonate this game, and that's usually an agent a lot of times, or that's just somebody who's fake. Neither one's good for men. Let's go.
The donation as well as the topic. From everything I've seen and heard about Andrew Tate, the former kickboxing world champion, he's oozing with brilliance out of every pore, and he's wise beyond his years. Sure, a guy might be blessed genetically with more intelligence and height, but you can't say that's the only reason for success. Andrew Tate has things that most men don't have, the first being courage. He had the courage to get into the ring and get beat up badly and embarrassed. What about the self-discipline required to train?
Yeah, a lot of things he talks about, like being a man becoming training, going through rough times. His story is a good story. There's a lot of good things about Andrew Tate. Let's not say it's all, but like I said, you can't have a successful operation with an idiot as the face, or with somebody who has no good qualities as the face. They have to be able to cut with a double-edged sword. That's the perfect type of agent of chaos that's needed. Someone who can appeal to both sides of the emotion, both sides, because he appeals to emotion. He talks about being not emotional. If you look at a lot of those red pill guys, they're very emotional when you talk about them. You notice how he's yelling and doing that. That's a lot of emotion, man. So he appeals to the emotion. He also appeals to logic. So he's very well crafted and measuring his words a lot of times.
To fight and build up your muscles. Do incels really believe that six-pack abs just magically show up because a man is a Chad and for no other reason? He also is impervious to shaming language because he was running a digital whorehouse and didn't seem to care about what people had to say about him. Not to mention...
Now, check this out. If you look up, you can look up these videos about, now, under the real definitions of sex trafficking and things of that nature, and under the law, as far as wire, money laundering, a lot of different things, right? From what they saying, I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm gonna look detailed myself. From what I've seen, though, he committed crimes. He committed various things that could be definitely considered crimes. Now, I don't think, I'm gonna be real with you. The case that they showing, I actually believe what he's saying. It is a BS case, but I don't think it's a BS case because like I said, I'm leaning more towards the side of controlled opposition. That's how you create certain figures. Listen, I love Tupac, right? Tupac is one of my favorite rappers, okay, of all time. I would say my favorite artist. I think Nas is the best rapper, but Tupac's the best artist to me. And what happened with what was Tupac before he went to jail? He was a good rapper. He was great. And his music was even actually, some would say better. But when he went to jail and he fit into that thug life image, he blew up. He blew up, man. And then that formula's it's still used in hip hop to this day. When he went to jail, had to shoot. And now Pac was actually living the real life, and it was actually real life. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times when things happen, when these figures are built, it's not somebody going up to Andrew Tate with a trench coat and saying, "Hey, listen, you're going to do this and do that." He might not be directly following. You study and understand mind control, MK Ultra mind control. Y'all looking at experiments from the 50s and 70s. It's in the radio waves in the food now, so they can send out vibrations and they can attract certain individuals, and especially if certain individuals want to chase fame and say certain things and get them to do certain things without even talking to them. That's another level I don't know a lot of y'all ready for, but I'm willing to go into it by request.
Courage going up, but it's mostly because of self-motivation and stubborn determination. Part of it is hunger for a better life, and part of it is to escape poverty. Andrew Tate grew up poor, and I think that his drive to succeed is to put being poor so far back in the rearview mirror by one of his luxury cars.
Yeah, he definitely got a great story, man. Definitely, accomplished a lot of things. Kickboxing champion, believe he got into acting and certain things of that nature. He definitely got a pedigree. But the thing is that if he's controlled opposition, that's exactly who they would use. Exactly what they would use, because he's shown that he can persevere through certain things, certain persecutions, such as being in prison for a time. Now, when he went in there was people who had very good cases that he wasn't getting out. That's people that saying he should already be out, but a lot of the cases where he should still stay in there was very solid cases. I'm trying to skip. Let me find what I was looking for here. Give me a
online
second.
to men that wanted to spill their seed all over them. If I had that much money, instead of buying 20 or 30 supercars, I would build a roadside attraction or small museum that's kind of quirky with the money in every single U.S. state. And eventually it became ordinary and boring. In the world be worth the precognitive and past life experiences I've had. I used to be all about materialism because I was terrified. That interview had about 50 or 60 small 2-minute tidbit videos made out of it. However, where Tate gets things wrong is purpose. The person that wins in life is not the...
Now, this is the point I wanted to get to right here. He talks a lot of positivity, how he's converted to Muslim, a lot of different things. course, he talks about women being more traditional. Like I say, he makes a lot of good points. A lot of things I agree with what he says. But Sandman makes a very good point about here, because whenever you're watching people and you talk and you listen to them talk, you have to, do they have an end game? What is their end game? And can you see their end game? That's what you have to ask yourself. So let's listen to this.
Gets things wrong is purpose. The person that wins in life is not the one with the most toys and has banged the most babes. The person that wins is the one that has the greatest number of unique experiences that money can't buy.
Now let's go back. I want y'all to miss some
interview of his, and I think that interview had about 50 or 60 small 2-minute tidbit videos made out of it. However, where Tate gets things wrong is purpose. The person that wins in life is not the one with the most toys and has banged the most babes. The person that wins is the one that has the greatest number of unique experiences that money can't buy.
Now notice he promotes being rich in excess, and that's cool, get money. We know ain't nothing wrong with that. But you claiming that you can't say that you're trying to lead the men out and then not the matrix, but you're pushing them back into that very matrix, the materialism. That's the number one thing in the matrix is materialism. That's the number one thing. Consumerism and materialism is really the thing that keeps everybody in the matrix. That's what makes guys want to commit crimes to get money to impress women. That's what makes women want to sell their bodies to get material things. Materialism is the crux of the matrix. So it's a very contradictory stance that he takes, but it's very beneficial to the economy. Now, this guy Sandman right here, right? He's, like I said, he's one of the big leaders far in the space, far as getting men to go their own way, to step away from that. He talks about minimalism, things of that nature, and not being materialistic. And I'll let him finish this. What he talks about right here. And that was the big child so-called red pill movement. It wasn't so much on that. It was pickup game, being a pickup artist. You had that segment. Then you had, the guys like the black manosphere, they had the O'Shea Du Jacksons, Tommy Sotomayor's, the Angry Man's, that nature, had different segments, but none of those segments had a hyper focus on materialism. None of those did. And as you start seeing articles, you see more and more now where men were stepping away from dating. Men were stepping away from being materialistic, focused on themselves, becoming a better man. That's very damaging to the economy, not just the economy in America, but the global economy. And when you see this Romania thing, don't quit. You can't think like the 80s and 90s. This is a global government. This is a global thing now. It's bigger than that. We gotta understand what's going on with that. So let's listen to this.
Spiritual experiences that can't be quantified. Would trading all the money in the world be worth the precognitive and past life experiences I've had? I used to be all about materialism because I was terrified of my own mortality. After you learn about higher consciousness, you learn that there are things to fear that are greater than death. Those being pain on a scale 99.9% of you haven't even imagined before. I've been around people that have had great wealth in their lives and eventually it became ordinary and boring. And they can as high IQ.
Yeah, so that's a good point, man. Like basically the whole thing is that you got to watch the message. You got to see where it leads to. What does it lead to? Now, because anybody can. He's a great speaker, man. The dude's a talented speaker, well-rounded guy. He speaks different languages. He's that guy. He's that basically. Well, look, when y'all think of the secret agent that women fantasize about, okay? The guy. He even says himself, "I'm that guy," right? He says it on that stuff. I'm that guy, whatever. Boom. But that's also the guy we always see that's played as the agent, the 007. The guy definitely fits that bill. Now I want to let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this video right here.
There are many reasons for the inability of a significant.
Now, just talking about controlled opposition, and I want to highlight certain things in this video because we're talking about is he controlled opposition? Is he actually an agent of the matrix?
There are many reasons for the inability of a significant enough opposition to coalesce against the conspiracy. Primary among them.
Now the red pill guys, right? Prior to 2020, for the most part, they would just dismiss this conspiracy guys as misogynists, and guys who incels, nerds on the internet. And to the extent they still in a lot of circles is looked at as that. But now you got the flash of the Andrew Tate, fresh and fit, and all of that. You got a whole different market, and you had guys. Shout out to guy. He's from my home city, Steph is Cold, and other young guys, MJ Get Right, and other young guys kind of holding down for the young guys prior to all these people blowing up. But you really didn't have anybody hitting the youth at a mass level. And the youth, the job rates of young men, the education, read about the educational rates of enrollment and graduation are at an all-time low. A big part of the system function, the matrix function, is people being in this educational system, and you got way less men in it than women right now. And you have a lot of men that's, we would say, leaving the plantation. So you understand that this message is growing, and it was growing rapidly from 2015 to 2020. It was growing rapidly. So what better way to control it by putting someone there who echoes some of those concerns about women, about modern women, and these hoes, this and that, and a lot of that's talking the same points about that. But the end game, what is the end game? The end game is back to materialism, to having excessive women. You see him with excessive women, which I ain't knocking, man. Do your thing. But this ain't about that. I can't talk about a man that's doing certain things that I'm doing. I'm successful what I do, not to his level, but I'm successful. I have women, whatever, but I'm not out here pushing it as an answer. I'm not saying even that he is, right? But when you're in the position of that status, the optics is everything. He knows that he's a marketer. He knows that he's very good at what he does. So let's listen to this real quick.
Of course, the elite control of the media on all levels. However, the opposition that has been able to form has not been able to blossom into a broader movement, largely because of internal disunity.
Now notice since the red pill space started blowing up, look at all the infighting, man. Look at all the infighting. It's been going on it's been going on. Look at if you go back just a couple years ago, you see 21 students, all those guys were like, you had Coach Greg Adams, Rolo Tomasi, all these guys, they all at the same conference. Now they all, they was all collabing on the same shows. And look at all the disruption. They all split their separate ways. Not all of them. You still got some that associate with each other, but a lot of it's very split. It's very split. And that happened as that's what's going on. There's no definition to this movement anymore. You got 30 different people that give you 30 different reasons. Someone say the red pill is this, or it's just the truth, or it's the truth about women, or it's about pickup, it's about game, it's about this, it's about that. Now I know Rolo Tomasi has said that there is, he has this, he's the guy who basically wrote the book on it, as they say, but he in there with Fresh and Fit. He got his money up and his subs up too. And I could dig deep into him, but that's another video for another time. Let's listen.
Of the reason for this confusion is what appears to be disinformation campaigns to hijack any growing opposition to the conspiracy, as is revealed in the recent 6-volume book.
The biggest opposition. Now notice this. This is a fact. This red spill space, when it was just mainly white guys, I was gonna keep them 100. It was underground. Wasn't nobody really caring about it. But when black guys, because Andrew Tate is a black man, touched it, you saw it. First it was because before Kevin Samuels, it was AMS. He was blowing up. He was just naturally himself. And I think AMS, he don't get enough credit. I think he caused the alarm. He caused the alarm, man. Him and Coach Greg, I think, started the alarm because they was not in the matrix. They was outside, and it was kind of you started seeing a lot of brothers coming on to this even more in masses. It was before. You had the Angry Mans, all of them and whatever, and O'Shea's, the OGs, but they was starting to take it to the masses of brothers, and they was able to talk to also other nationalities. Then boom, you got Kevin Samuels. Now Kevin Samuels, that's a whole nother video. And then went to just out the stratosphere with Kevin Samuels. And he was actually, whether you like him or not, I got my feelings about him. I think he's a net positive, more so than net negative. I don't think everything he did was positive, but I do think he did spark conversation in Black community needed to be had. And he did do some positive things, and much respect to Kevin Samuels. And I actually knew the brother before he was who y'all see him as Kevin Samuels. And the thing is, man. I mean, we weren't tight, but I was in the same field in marketing. And those stories he told about his image consulting days, it's true, man. Kevin was doing his thing. I can vouch for that, man. Kevin was doing his thing. He had an all black team. I mean, that's all another video. But let's go. But the thing is that when you got to understand, man, the elites, the people that really run this thing, they not thinking, they thinking way ahead. Now, what the internet has done, it has caught them. It has made it where it can be caught off guard. But they already had plans, and they already had devices and programs and plans in place for when that does happen, that they have tactics to get right back at it. Immediate responses.
Order Ab Cow by David Livingstone. The key modus operandi of the conspiracy has been to deploy what he calls a, quote, conspiracy. It is a deliberate attempt to cultivate an errant interpretation of the conspiracy to create a controlled opposition of naive dissidents who were ultimately recruited into inadvertently serving the conspiracy. This is
Now,
by definition what?
check this out. Now, what does Andrew Tate, what does he do, man? He promotes, he talks about the Matrix. Now, check this out. Coincidentally, he got released the same day the Matrix was released in 1999. The day he's released was that same date. And that's not an accident. That's how they at least work. They work in numerology. Numerology. They did that on purpose. They wanted to let y'all know that this is what it is. They told you what this is, allegedly told y'all who he is by his release date. That was on purpose. It was on purpose, and it was out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere because he's an agent of chaos. They didn't want you to know he was getting released. People thought he was going to stay in there. People thought he should have been out. No one knew, and bam, he's out of there. And he talks against so-called conspiracies in the Matrix, while also, now let's read this deliberate attempt to cultivate an errant interpretation of the conspiracy. So men that were on a true path of enlightenment, whatever, seeing him, they see him as a loud, boisterous voice, as a flashy guy. He appeals to a lot of things that's the nature of man, the flesh of man. You know, he has the bravado, a lot of different things that could appeal, especially to younger men. So they see that, and it cultivates a cult following. And his rants against the conspiracies become a conspiracy within itself. And that's the conspiracy tactic. Let's rock that back one more time.
Is revealed in the recent 6-volume book, Order Ab Cow by David Livingstone. The key modus operandi of the conspiracy has been to deploy what he calls
all of these fair use.
They call it conspiracy. It is a deliberate attempt to cultivate an errant interpretation of the conspiracy to create a controlled opposition of naive dissidents who were ultimately recruited into inadvertently serving the conspiracy.
Now, you see a lot of these fans, you notice a lot of his fans are misinformed. They just re-quoting and re-saying what he's saying. That's just the truth, man. It's probably going to be something coming in this video. I already know. They're not going to know anything they're talking about. They're going to just blindly defend them. Now, look, it's been times where he's been attacked where I'll even defended some of the things that he said. Because it's truth. Like I said, I rock with truth. I don't rock with anybody, any person. I just rock with the truth. So that's understandable. But you got a lot of people that's blindly naive. And they like foot soldiers, you know, what we call fanboys, blindly defending them, don't have any research, nothing. They just see him as a savior, and they defended him, and that's what they want to create in these things. This is age old, man. This what they doing with him is thousands of years old. This has been used throughout history.
This is by definition what conspirituality is all about, and there are many popular dissident public figures who are most likely involved in this. The reason this happens, as it has happened in history before, is that it is those who are dismayed with the direction our societies have taken tend to become desperate for change.
Yes.
And two,
desperate. The attack on masculinity, the over feminism. You got 50 years of over feminism. It has made a lot of men desperate. The dating app game, the fact that it's not even 80-20 no more. You got basically 100% of women. I agree with Rolo on this. 100% of women want the top 10% or 5% of men. it's out of hand to where the average guy can't get it. And I was out of touch. I'm gonna be honest with you. The manosphere brought up the lack. Cause to be real with you, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying what it is, man. I never noticed any changes to me. I actually, when the data apps came and the smartphone came, the amount of women that I got in my life access to went up dramatic. I mean, went up skyrocketed, and it's still like that to this day. I go to my inbox, it's gonna be full of women. But the thing is that for the guys who don't get selected, for the reason they feel to select me, you know, it's just games, whatever. Nah, it's just, but it ain't about that. But for most guys, man, and I had to really, you know, stop looking at guys because living in an echo chamber, you living in your own echo chambers, you're only looking at I'm only looking at my circle. Everybody in my circles, you know, I'm like in my circle, I might be average or even below average, but I'm in the circle of other top tier men, or what we consider by not even by my standard, by their standards, high value men. So it's humbling me and making me look at myself as above average when I'm well above average. And then seeing these guys on the internet in the MGTOW movement, the red pill movement, I was like, whoa, I didn't know it was that bad for men out here. And it woke me up, you know, when I started watching it. And I started seeing the desperation in the comments and different things. And then it didn't really start people seeping out to real life until, like I say, 2020, which we all know what happened in 2020.
Ready to throw in their support with anyone who appears to represent their interests. They look at a leader's words, not what they stand for, which makes them easily duped. This is not just happening.
Right. Easily duped. They just, because it's words, it's flashy, it sound good. You like, dang, he got somebody with a voice, somebody saying what we can't say. That happened with Kevin Samuels as well. A lot of guys, man, that wanted to say certain stuff to certain women, they could never say it. Now they had a voice. And that's happened with Andrew Tate. And this is a formula. Now look, when Andrew Tate went in, the voice became female, Miss Pearly things. We're gonna talk about that later with the OG.
Now, as I've said, but has happened many times before in history, the tactic, you could call it, dates back to at least the Enlightenment and the fomenting of the French and American revolutions by rallying the masses into believing they were fighting, quote, tyranny. In the person of the
right. That's
blossom into a broader movement.
Yeah, that was the French American. Those are scams, man. They was never a lot of y'all study history understand those. It's not what they teach you in school.
Largely because of internal disunity. Part of the reason for this confusion is what appears to be disinformation campaigns to hijack.
Same thing, COINTEL. What's happening to the original red pill guys and MGTOW guys, even though I don't agree with a lot of their views or whatever, this is modern day COINTEL. Same thing happened with us with the Panther. Same thing still goes with us with the Panther, Panther movement. It's a lot of plants in there. A lot of guys who are agents of chaos. They sent in there to make. They don't want a streamlined message. That's just how government works. They don't want a streamlined. They don't want people coming together on their own and making a streamlined message. That's why messages get hijacked. The movements get hijacked.
Like any growing opposition to the conspiracy and the fomenting of the French and American revolutions by rallying the masses into believing they were fighting, quote, tyranny, in the person of the aristocracy and the Catholic Church or King George III of England. The same tactic was employed for example, by using the cause of communism to channel the Russian people's frustration against the state to bring about the Bolshevik revolution.
Same thing that's going on with Black Lives that went on with Black Lives Matter. And I'm a Panther, but I do not support Black Lives Matter. That is contradictory to revolution. It is a form of conforming, which I will talk about. That I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement because that's another version of this, what he's talking about. And that's what's kind of happening. That's what they're trying to do with this so-called red pill movement. Now, the red pill operation is a whole operation that actually was put in place by Donald Trump. That's a whole nother level. But Biden and them not against it. And that's a whole nother level. Like I said, somebody saying I'm saying mission. If you want to hear me elaborate, I will.
Revolution in 1917. Most importantly, the Nazis made use of the notorious Protocols of Zion, which purported that the Russian Revolution was the outcome of a worldwide Judeo-Masonic conspiracy.
So y'all got to understand, man, the wars nowadays is online. All this stuff y'all seeing going on now, but it's just not going out. It's going to get back to this. I don't think we got free. but it's online, man. It's information. It's through information. That's where the war zone is at right now. That's where it's at right now. So that's where they deploying their tactics at right now. Let's check this out real here.
Now, the social media influencer Andrew Tate and his brother have been moved out of detention in Romania to house arrest after a court ruled in favor of their appeal. The brothers are being investigated on allegations of rape, people trafficking, and coercion, which
Now let's keep this 100, fam. Let's keep this 100. They said they had 6 girls. They had this and that. We seen other prominent figures go down with way less. Now, I actually agree with Ed. I don't think Andrew Tate, from what they say, I don't know if they have I haven't seen. I've seen good circumstantial cases made against Andrew Tate, but we've yet to see the hard evidence, and that's for a reason, because it's controlled. It's controlled. That's just what it is. They're creating what they want to create. And like I said, I'll get into it deeper. It don't mean that they went up to him and he agreed to this. He could be totally unbeknowing of this. You understand the technology that we have right now? They can take anybody they want. They can just go through random videos and find people who fit they script. They don't have to go and directly recruit. Who fit their script. They can find this guy Kevin Samuels. He knows how to talk to black women a certain way, or this and that. Let's put him on top, whatever. Or whatever. That's how they can do. We don't know that's what happened, but that's what I'm saying. They can do that. We got to stop limiting the possibilities of what can go on.
they have repeatedly denied. Kemian Zeram reports.
Nothing social media influencer Andrew Tate puts on the internet is by accident. Read what you will into the...
Yep, nothing. Everything this guy do, man, is measured. Is measured. He's very measured, very trained.
This footage he posted when he got home, claiming in a tweet that 3 months of jail in Romania has left him with absolute clarity of mind, real thoughts, real plans, vivid pain. Self-belief Tate lacks not, adding rather grandly, we must defeat Shaitan.
Fair use. Now, he converted to Muslim, to be a Muslim and whatnot, and we talked about that earlier. And he's coming out more of a religious figure now. Now that he's out, he's going to be looked at as a savior if he goes through, if they don't bank him. And I said when he went in there, I said I didn't feel like they was gonna be able to get him on anything. Not because I think he told me. I don't know if he's innocent or guilty. Like I said, I haven't really sat down and looked at everything. I've seen certain things that could point either way. But I do believe, like I said, I do believe that he's controlled opposition. If I had to lean, that's what I would say, because it fits all the bill. If I had more time, I'm gonna have to do a part 2 to this. I can show you more in detail why that fits the bill. And if you object, I'll be glad to challenge those objections.
The unapologetic misogynist come self-improvement guru was released from jail last night along with his brother and 2 female associates. But
now there's 2 types of controlled opposition. There's directly controlled opposition and indirectly controlled opposition. I don't know. He could be either one. Who knows? I don't know that. I wasn't there. I don't speak on stuff I don't know. And all this stuff is alleged from me, alleged. The thing is that whether he's controlled or whether he's controlled opposition, whether he's indirectly or directly, he's controlled opposition. He's a guy that he's an easy punching bag, that they can either use to strengthen. Notice how he also emboldened the feminist movement, which is dead and dying. He gave them fire, and he also gave the red pill fire. He was able to light both sides of the fire and keep chaos going. He gave voices to the opposition too. So whatever side you stand on is opposition.
They must stay under house arrest for another month.
Look, fam, that Greta Thunberg, look how he blew her up. And she dissed him. Now she clowned him. I ain't gonna fly. She clowned him. She made him look like a clown. but look at that, man. It works both ways.
Tate's bling lifestyles garnered him a cult following among some young men, even though he and his brother are...
Look at these guys at the table. This guy admires the feds. This guy, these guys ain't coming on the like they not like a regular guy just firing up a YouTube channel. These guys all came in with a plan and strategy, which is good. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad. You come in with a plan and strategy. Sneeko, he been doing videos since he was 11. You know, he's a clout, what I would call a clout baby. He basically, that's all he knows how to do is get clout on the internet. And he's a guy that knows how to go viral, knows how to do this and do that. A perfect, perfect guy to recruit for this type of mission. Fresh is a mastermind marketer. You got Myron, who's actually the feds. I forget this guy's name, man. Jay, I forget his name, man. But he was rich before YouTube. He was multi-millionaire, very successful businessman, very successful marketing strategist. And these guys are all together. Okay. These guys all together, they hang tight, you know, they successful. They're successful, right? And then to the guy who's looking at them from the outside, they're looking like, oh, these guys are successful. I'm gonna watch these guys. But they listen, they when they tell you the sum of the 5 guys you hang around with the most, 5 people, period, that's actually true. That's true on both sides, even whether you on the left hand side or the right hand side, the good or the bad. You create influence by groups. Even the most powerful men are in the group. All the councils, the foreign council relations, the United Nations, those are all world leaders who are in a group. You don't see just a solo leader all the way dolo. They're going to group up. They're going to be in the pack. You know, that's just how it is.
Are suspected of rape, human trafficking, and organized crime, which they deny. They haven't actually been charged. Romania has something called preventative custody, which takes.
Yeah, they haven't been charged. They don't really hardly. I haven't seen any hardcore evidence. I've heard, like I said, a lot of circumstantial evidence. Now to the fanboys, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, free him, get him out of there, man, free him," right? But then to the opposite side, they're gonna look at all the circumstances like, "Oh yeah, he's got it." They lighten both sides of the fire. Meanwhile, if you control an opposition, you got outs either way. If you want him, if you tired of his message and you trying to replace him, boom, you can just get him out of there. Because look, you already got him in there. If you want him back out there, you can just let him go because nothing's been revealed to show them to be totally guilty. It's the perfect way to play this.
James is being abused in a conspiracy to silence him.
There is 0% chance of me being found guilty of something I have not done. I maintain my absolute innocence, and I think most people understand this. And I look forward to being home.
Tate made his name.
Look, man, I study by it. He's very confident. He's very confident, man. He's confident, facing a lot. Look, knowing where he's at, he knows how crooked the government is because he talked about it. He knows they could bank him if they really wanted to. And maybe he's found faith in this. He's speaking out of faith. But he's extremely confident in this situation that nothing that he's going to be good. You can look at that as that, or you can look at that as that he already been told the script. Now I want to talk about this is a shout out to BG. This is an OG. This is actually, I call him the conscious of the Black manosphere. And he's an OG in the game. That's BGS Hitmore. And he's a guy that always brings me back to the right perspective. Even with the Purdy thing, he brought me back to the right perspective. A lot of different things, man. He's very logical, and because he's an older man, he's able to look at things from a different perspective that me as a man who's younger. I'm an older man myself, but not I'm an older man I'm an older younger older man. But he's an older man, period. He's able to kind of put things in the right perspective. He's always a good. I've been following his channel for a long time, and I don't even look at him as red pill, black pill, whatever. I know he talks about it, whatever. He's just guys. I always looked at him as a lot. I was some of the guys he was bringing on. Like I remember him bringing on Kevin Samuels when Kevin Samuels wasn't even really popping. I could remember that. He dives into different things. He's not really like the sensational type content. It's very logical, and I want to listen to some of the points that he brings up about Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate's detention replaced with house arrest. Police officers escort Andrew Tate outside the Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism, while the prosecutors examine electronic equipment confiscated during the investigation in the case in Bucharest. An official on Friday, March 31st, 2023 said, Andrew, here's another one. American British internet personality, former
Skip ahead a little
Court
bit.
of Appeal ruled in favor of Tate's appeal, which challenged a judge's decision
Let me get to his
in
thoughts.
Romania's capital, Bucharest, along with his brother, Tristan, and
Fair use, fair use.
2 Romanian women. All 4 wanted to claim Romanian prosecutors have no evidence and no surveillance and subjected to other controlled tactics activities such as human trafficking.
Let's get down a little bit.
Predilections, whether it's true or not, and she was palatable to. Pearl was the perfect replacement because once she was a woman.
Now we talked about that. I want to talk about this. I did the video on Pearl. I know a lot of y'all, so whatever, but it's these things. They go in shifts, man. Kevin Samuels out of there, boom. Andrew Tate blows up. All right, he was doing his thing before. He wasn't big. He was nowhere near as big as when Kevin Samuels after Kevin Samuels' death. Andrew Tate goes to jail, boom. Pearl blows up. Now let's hear him talk about this.
I just put up a video saying that they were planning to put Pearl as a replacement for Andrew Tate, who they needed to silence.
Yeah, they needed to silence him. They did. Now, to be like I said, to be fair, he was saying a lot of stuff that's real, man. He was inspiring a lot of people. Okay, he was doing some good. But you have to do that if you're an agent, man. You gotta do that. You're not a good agent if you just nobody's gonna listen to you if you don't if you don't have nothing to offer. Okay. Now, what I like about BGS, he doesn't care about he looks at it like just from a practical standpoint. Because whether he's an agent or not, man, who cares? I don't really care if he is or not. What you have to do with these creators, y'all can't worship them as gods. You have to understand that they're going to throw out some meat and bones. You got to eat the meat and throw away the bones. You can take the things that Andrew Tate, the examples he made, and inspire from him and go towards greatness, and you can throw away the garbage. You don't have to be under. What you don't do is you worship. You don't make him an idol. And that's where it becomes a problem. But that's what is the goal. That's the goal of controlled opposition.
And to compensate victims, Tate unsuccessfully appealed the asset seizure. Of course he did. Of course he did. Strange how this happens. Strange how this happens. Now, we just talked about this, and I just put up a video saying that they were planning to put Pearl as a replacement for Andrew Tate, who they needed to silence. And I was saying that
and he was dead on.
Pearl was the perfect replacement because one, she was a woman, 2, she was white, 3, she espoused pro-male predilections, whether it's true or not.
Now,
and she was
now check out. They don't never now look. I'm just speaking. I'm not saying look. Notice how it went from a black man, Kevin Samuels, older black man, brown skin, full black man, all about black family. Whether you like him or hate him, that he was helping. He wanted to bring together black families. Then you went to a mixed man, multiracial man, and they pushing race mixing big in the movies and all that. As they push in the commercials, you went to him as the voice. Then it went from him to just white back to who? White back to white to a white woman, white to a blonde hair, blue eyed white woman, and that's common. It's common with any movement. It's common with any movement. Okay, that's very common. You look as a Panther. I can look at. You can look at the Black Lives Matter movement, and it started out how it started out. Then by the end of it, it was more liberal white women out there than black people, man. More Antifa was out there. They hijacked it. It's just how they do.
Palatable to most people online, right? So it's palatable. With few exceptions with a few black guys. Most black guys were indifferent to her. But at least she was palatable. She wasn't somebody that we just, hated offhand. And she even,
yeah, man, she's very unassuming. So she very, appear to be feminine. The image of the image of the, the pasty white chick who's just conservative and has values. She fit all that. So they got it from the face went from Kevin Samuels to that. In a short time, in short order, man. So in short order, it went to that.
Hung around black people and she dated black men. Now, did that make her a favorite candidate to kind of step into this role? Possibly. It's kind of hard for her to be attacked, especially when she's white and she's female.
Yeah, because don't get it twisted, y'all. Like I said, whether indirectly or directly, these are agents being used for a purpose, whether indirectly or directly, because this is the balance channel. The only extreme is truth, and truth that goes both ways. A lot of the debates that they had, the good points that they make, can be debunked. Look, man, Destiny, the blue hair guy they try to clown, Destiny. I done seen Destiny shred. Destiny, a good debater, man. The two best debaters on YouTube, I'm gonna tell you, is him and Coach Greg Adams. And I know they're two totally opposite spectrums, but Destiny's a good debater, man. And Destiny was able to chop up a lot of stuff, hit a lot of points. And you can see how they try to clown him. He is what he is, but you can't knock the skills.
He employs and she has intimate relationships with black men. Hard to attack. When you put her in her spot in place of Kevin Samuels or an Andrew Tate, she's much more useful.
Now look, she's the perfect one because she don't really, man. She sounds like the female version, it's like she just read Rollo Tomassi books and watching videos, and she out there. She not really like Andrew Tate is intelligent. Andrew Tate got stuff to offer. Kevin Samuels was even more intelligent than he was. Look how the intelligence level goes down. Kevin Samuels was measured, intelligent, suave, debonair guy. Got well dressed, very professional, very very elegant type guy. Whether you love him, you can't deny that. It goes to Andrew Tate, who's more brash, more on the alpha type stuff. He fed into like a lot of the garbage of the red pill, a lot of the Jerry Springer type aspect of the red pill. But he still was intelligent. He still has a lot to offer. Now you at Pearl just a parrot. Pearl don't really, I don't. She's like, and did you know that this percentage of women is that and. I believe that that they should repeal the 19th Amendment and that birth control should be illegal. Women shouldn't vote. And she just parroting stuff, man. She don't really have nothing original, nothing. Whatever you like from her, I can go pull it. Not saying now, look, everybody borrows. Even Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels was great at that, but he knew how to put his spin to it. He had his own way to it, and even Andrew Tate to an extent, right? Like he's like a mixture of Andrew Dice Clay and a lot of different things, But Pearl, man, is a parrot.
And all I was saying is that we as black men should use her or use her platform, use her talking points to advance our road. And looky. Look who pops up and comes.
Yeah, no doubt. Use that to that's what we gotta do. You can use these people for your own gain. You just can't become enthralled with them.
Comes out of jail after months in jail because we say something. I don't know if it's because we say something. I might pop my collar because it's just a funny coincidence. It might be just a stroke of luck. Let me go play the lotto, man, because if I'm this lucky, there's no telling what I can earn. And it could be just dumb luck. I could be that broken clock. But guess what? Damn it. I was right. They let him out.
That's crazy because he caught it, man. He caught it. They caught it like that, and it happened just like that. So, I'm just gonna say this, family. I'm just gonna say this. Is he an agent? Is he controlled opposition? If you don't think he is, okay, whatever it is. But it's a lot of red flags. Now, some of y'all might think that's a good thing. Some of y'all might think it's a bad